All right, welcome Hard Knocks, KK the Destroyer coming at you live from the ESPN 8 studio, and we got a full house tonight. We have Jern in the house, that would be the owner of the Bucks,
Hey, how y'all doing?
and then we of course have Mikey
What's up, guys?
and face everybody knows from his streams. John's in the house.
Yo, what up?
All right, so obviously the Christmas week we weren't able to get another podcast in, so we're just trying to get caught up here. What are we, week 9 right now, guys?
Yeah, week
Yep,
nine.
just moved into 9.
Right.
Yes,
So
sir.
we had some big trades at the deadline. A lot of action right there at the end. I know we had the Eagles trying to clear some cap space, so he was in cap hell. John, you got some highlights of his moves.
Yeah, I mean, Buns is somebody who he's aware of cap situations now, I think from our PS4 league more than anything because he has the Texans in there now and they're not in a great cap situation like over the next, the first few years. So he actually got proactive this year. Shout out to Buns on this. And looked at his cap ahead of time. He actually messaged me on the side. He was like, "Hey, dude, these Eagles are in shambles next year, aren't they?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, it's one of the worst teams in the league. I'm not gonna lie to you." So he went all like ASAP on a fire sale, and this dude started trading everybody. I'm mad I couldn't message him fast enough. I ended up getting Deshaun out of the deal, but realistically, at the end of the day, I mean, he made a lot of good moves for him from a cap shedding standpoint because a lot of these guys that I believe he got rid of were dudes that he was going to have to re-sign or dudes that he already had people playing there. So like it was just all around good moves for him. Let's see. Going back through this really quick, he was able to get rid of Marquise Goodwin, speedster, obviously.
That's a tough
He
one
was
to get
able
rid of
to
too. I
yeah,
mean,
well, that's one thing I will say from looking at the trades that he made is he got rid of some weapons.
right.
But it is Buns. We know that this dude can pass. We know that this dude has offense. He can definitely play offense, right? So I don't think he's really too worried about that at the end of the day. But he was able to get rid of Marquise and Nicole Roby Coleman. Those are, two decent pieces. Got a second and a fifth back. He's also able to get rid of Derek Barnett, big D lineman. Got a fourth round pick. Again, not re signing him. He moved Deshaun Jackson to me. And I
Convenient.
think that might be it. Yeah, oh my gosh, right? Hey, that was one of the last ones to go through. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But no, he made some good moves there. So that's one thing I'll say. Shout out to Buns, getting ahead of the game on the cap.
Yeah.
He kind of
D-
kicked off this whole flurry of trades that we saw all of a sudden at the deadline here.
That's two big wide receiver weapons for him to lose out the gate. Like, that's going to be tough, I think, for him to overcome. But I mean, if anybody can overcome that, I think he can. So I think he'd be all
Yeah, I mean,
right.
he's definitely not throwing to Brandon Cooks and Will Fuller anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he
Definitely
got
not.
rid of those two with his Deshaun and Marquise Goodwin. But he does have, who's that rookie that they got? That dude's a stud that they drafted. So he's going to dove
Oh,
him up. I'm
Rieger,
sure,
Jalen
yeah,
Rieger.
Rieger. There you go. I'm sure
Oh,
in a year
right.
or two, we're all going to be seeing this dude, leading the league up there. But yeah, he got ahead of it. So shout out to him on that.
And Mikey,
So
you made
the
a
NFC
few trades.
South.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say at least the NFC South did not need any more receivers to come into it. I mean, if you look at the yearly awards right now, 7 of the top 10 are now NFC South receivers, with Deshaun Jackson entering the fray. The top 5 are all NFC South receivers: Ridley, Jackson, Evans, Curtis Samuel, and Michael Thomas. So that division is absolutely loaded with receiver talent after these trades.
It
Yeah,
was
no
loaded with
doubt.
it beforehand.
Yeah, and actually
Early.
looking at his roster of wide receivers, I mean, he's not in terrible shape. He's still got J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, who he's actually a little bit slower than I thought, but he's got that Hightower kid, and he's got Quez Watkins, 94 speed. So, he's still sitting pretty after dropping those two guys even.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, and got a lot of draft picks back in the process, so he'll be in good shape.
Nice. Mikey, I know you made a few trades here right before the deadline.
Yeah, I did. I made a big splash. Afterwards, after the trade was pushed through, I sat back and I'm like, I'm a salesman in real life, and I definitely did not act like a salesman on this trade because I feel like I overpaid a little. And afterwards he accepted the deal so fast that I'm like, oh, maybe if I would have kept one of my first in my pocket, like he would have accepted it. But it is a big package that I sent due to Dak being a free agent. Not only am I going to have to re-sign Dak, but I give up my, two first and a third, and a young, developing QB that I had. But hey, I'm making the move. I've been doing pretty well with Phillip Rivers, who's got 85 throw power. Okay. And, I feel like my two running backs, Hines and Taylor, are kind of running my offense, that I felt like I needed to make a big splash. I didn't see myself at the bottom of the draft to get a quarterback. And I didn't see myself, I didn't see any stud quarterbacks being available in free agency. I sent him a message. I said, "Is Dak available?" He says, "Oh yeah," and I was like, "Okay, I got to get him." He's I believe 90 throw power,
He
and
is.
he can move around. So
That's kind of a surprise. Shango is a real life Cowboys fan. Was this before he came in and took over the Cowboys, or is this recent?
no, this was literally on the day before Christmas Eve, I believe. I mean, this was literally last week, and
Okay,
I was
so
shocked as well.
yeah,
But talking to him and negotiating with him, he was telling me he likes to rebuild, and he liked the fact that the quarterback I sent him was a 93 throw power, and he's a rookie. So he
yeah.
said, maybe he'll try to develop him. But I was pretty surprised. But I will say, as soon as I attempted to submit the trade, little did I realize, Dak wasn't clearing my cap, so I also needed to make a few more moves. And little did the Panthers know, T.Y. Hilton was 2.5 seconds away from being released. And I was able to get a fifth rounder out of him. So, like, uh,
Oh,
guys, when you see these people trying to make moves right at the very end, it's probably for a reason.
Right.
Giants today also, trading me Pettis in a third rounder for next year for Marlon Mack, who I've been having on the block since day
woo!
one of preseason.
That's a huge
Um,
cap hit.
yeah, so you know, I was pretty thrilled. I was able to get some picks for players, two picks right for players that I was
So
gonna
you
cut.
had you had to move Hilton and Mac and something else. You had to clear so much cap to sign Dak because Hilton alone, I'm looking at, is 14 and a half
14,
million.
14 and a half. I also cut a defensive tackle who was up for a contract. He was 5.5, and then I cut Brissett, who was 8 million.
Wow.
Yikes.
All that at the buzzer beater to get Dak. So you can call that trade for Dak Prescott. Hey, we're putting all our chips on the table for Dak attack. So let's see what happens.
Was was this guy in Moneyball? Where'd he come from?
And I would say the other guy probably winning the whole trade, like, first 8 weeks, is clearly the Panthers. I mean, this dude's been making moves everywhere. I don't even know if I can keep
Oh,
track of
for
how
real.
many trades he has. Obviously, the T.Y. Hilton trade it's a good trade for him. I mean, a fifth for a solid receiver, great attributes. He's obviously aging, and I think, Jern, you said he had the cap, right? He's going to be having cap.
Yeah, just all of his team is so young. All of his bright players are just super young and super talented. So
The problem with Ty and Panthers, I talked to him after the deal. Before we made the deal, he goes, "I'm viewing this as giving you a fifth rounder for a rental to get me in the playoffs this year, to get me some additional weapons." I don't know if you guys remember early on when he tried to run Samuels as running back as his slot receiver, and he just said, "Hey, I have no third receiver." So for him,
Right.
it's like, "Hey, I'm one of the better users. I got an 8-0 record. I'm going to be at the bottom of the draft. Why not give away a fifth for this guy to come in here and try to help me win a Super Bowl?" Um, and he even told me afterwards, and I think Ty got hit with the struggled earlier in the season, so Madden kind of dropped his rating, but
Hmm.
forgot to drop his contract that he's asking for, because that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, I mean, he's the most expensive 83 overall, like, above average wide receiver I've seen. I think Dante Pettis is even a better looking receiver than him. Almost, maybe not.
No, no. My comment was the contract he's asking for. Not talking about the 14.5 right now. He's almost asking for
No,
the
I
same
get it.
amount to be re-signed.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm like I
That's
was saying,
crazy.
Dante Pettis. I mean, he's got good speed, good agility, and his route running is definitely lower than T.Y. Hilton's, but he's a solid addition to your team. Plus, I think he's reasonably young, isn't he? 26, 24. So yeah,
Yeah,
and you don't have to
Pettis
pay
is a
him an
steal
arm and a
right
leg.
there.
Yeah,
he
He
just
definitely
posted.
upgraded in
the
that trade.
picture.
I
Yeah,
would say
go
you
ahead,
made that.
Jerry.
He just posted the picture of what Ty is asking for in chat. It looks like 46 million over 4 years for a 30-year-old wide receiver. That's tough.
Jesus. Yeah,
And
they need to update that because that's a mess.
and the other thing is I'm pretty sure when we originally started these leagues without the updated rosters, that T.Y. Hilton was a superstar. And now he's
Mm.
only a star. So not only did they downgrade his stats, they also took his abilities away.
Yeah, and wasn't he
Absolutely.
faster than that too, or
No, he was always 92.
was he?
Yeah, he's
But
92, 93, barely. I mean, he's always been around this.
but like you
He's
said, I
just a
mean
good
it's a
route
1 year
runner.
rental for a chance to win a Super Bowl, and it what at the end of the day cost him essentially almost a 6th round pick.
Yeah.
He should make the playoffs. He should make a run. It's not a bad trade. Not by
No,
any
it's a
means.
great trade for him. And then he also picked up Chandler Jones, who is a beast for sure. I think one of us in this party knows all about that.
Yeah,
Mikey.
maybe.
So obviously, John has decided to keep that in his pocket. Doesn't want to speak up because he faced the wrath of Chandler Jones this past week. I mean, he's another
Yeah,
aging
no, I
player, but the dude
we
is
picked him up,
he's
and that dude is a monster.
yeah he's an X factor.
He's an X factor. He's got some good abilities. He's got amazing. I don't know what it is. It must be power move. Something I see something every
He's
day.
got amazing
CNN.
everything. He's got 97 power move, 92 finesse, and his block shed's almost 80, but his pursuit's 98. Like, look out because that guy's coming for you.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So he's a stud, and he's definitely a great addition to that dude's D line as well. I will say, like between him and I think the Brian Burns is the other guy
Yeah, he's
who's
got
the
two
young
goons
guy, but
on the
whew,
line.
he's yeah. The Goon Squad is coming. The Bash Brothers. That's what those two are
Yeah,
right now.
no
Those
doubt.
Bash Brothers are coming after you. I mean, I will say I think that's the real reason that I lost in my game against him is because his D line made some amazing plays a couple times. So, definitely slowed me down.
Yeah,
Just right behind those two guys, he has Gross Matos, who's a superstar 22-year-old rookie. His
yep.
defensive tackle, Derek Brown, 81 overall rookie with hidden dev trait. I assume he's a superstar, if not an X Factor. I have no idea, but he
Yeah, and
has
he's
talent all up and down that line.
no doubt. I mean, he's got 86 power move on that Derek Brown with 81 block shed and just huge strength. So he is stacked at the front four for sure. So I mean, if anybody has any more trades to offer up, I mean, those were some of the biggest ones I think that we saw right here towards the end of the deadline.
I think that's it.
All right, I think that covers it. So let's go ahead and jump into we're now week 9. We're going to go through the standings and kind of take a look, see where everybody's at. We jump over the AFC North, which is a tight division. We got the Ravens at 5-2, the Browns 5-3, Bengals 5-3, and is anybody surprised the Steelers are 2-5? That's Jay Stopper, right?
I
Uh-oh.
believe that is Jay Stopper.
I believe he's not stopping anything. So, I do not have the names in front of me. We got a lot of new guys. I
He
know
started
Virix is,
hot, didn't
if you want to call 2-0 hot.
he? Well, he started hot as he was hot in his book. I'll remember that. That's one thing I do remember.
He's just waiting for that matchup against the Bills against Manny. That's all he's been hyped up about.
Is that this week or next week?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. It sounded like a segue into your pick'em, so I wasn't
No.
sure. But Virix, I know, is the Browns. I'm struggling to remember the Ravens guy, and then Bengals is I'm geeked. I
Ravens
think.
guy is the cactus
Yeah,
guy.
Ravens is Cactus Kanaki, and Bengals is I'm geeked.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I mean, it looks like these guys are really in the thick of it between the three of them. So honestly, I don't know. Do we want to go through and try to do a selection of who we think's going to win this division, or do we want to just kind of tick down each one?
Well, I know it's not going to be Jay Stopper.
Oh,
I'm
hot take.
confident
A,
in
u-
that,
a
that
unanimous
prediction.
decision.
Yes, I am very confident that it will not be Jay Stopper. But all these guys just beat up on each other. They're going to be splitting games all season. I don't know who's the best out of the Browns, the Bengals, and the Ravens, so it's very hard to predict this early.
Yeah, I would. I
I think
definitely
this
agree.
might be one of those. This might be one of those fun divisions to watch. Like there's going to be a division or two, where we know who's coming out. When we go through and look at this. But this is definitely going to be one of those good divisions. It's going to come down to it. It's going to have playoff implications up till the end. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's probably just too close to call, so we can jump over to the AFC South, which while our very own Mikey is leading the pack 5-2. Titans at 4-3. The Jags, which is Chillin', big surprise there, 3-4. And then the other Manny, which is the Texans 2-5. So anybody help me out with the Titans user who that guy is? I forget.
That's Niles.
Oh,
No,
Niles.
no,
Yeah.
no.
Niles.
Niles is Titans.
That's what I meant, was the Titans. I might have
Oh,
misspoke.
okay.
Yeah, so that's right. How could I forget our man Niles? So obviously another close one. I don't think any of us expect the Jags to stay at the third spot. And I don't think many of us expect the Colts to stay at the one spot. I mean, am I wrong?
Hey, hey. I think Mikey's better than Niles is.
I mean,
He's got
clearly,
a 2-game lead.
yeah, and clearly, I mean, Mikey, you opened up the season against Penn and beat him.
I
Handily.
did.
Yeah,
It was
so
it was a confidence booster.
I would
It
imagine.
definitely in the way that I played them too. It was very overall very balanced, and I guess that's how my offense and my defense have been. It's not just one thing. So, like if you see my stats, they're not pretty if you're just looking at them individually. But hey, coming away with wins. That's all that matters.
I mean, and honestly, your points for, I mean, you're still outscoring your points against by quite a bit versus if you look at Niles, he's 204 and giving up 219, and then you got Penn, 209, giving up 199. I mean, you're obviously doing something right defensively, so
Yeah,
congrats
when you
on that.
have when you have the number one points against team in the entire league, you're going to get some wins. So, I got to thank big DeForest Buckner in the middle doing his thing. My corners and safeties getting some interceptions. I have no idea where I stand at interception wise, but I've been getting some picks lately. But hey, now we got a new man under center, so let's see if that can boost up some of that points for.
And
Hope it doesn't
quit.
throw off the feng shui of your entire team,
I know,
might
right?
upset the locker room.
The locker room morale might be questioning what's going on here. Uncle
Abs-
Phil was doing his thing.
Yeah, I could see him throwing a little mini tantrum. He's a trash talker,
Saying
so.
frick. Yeah, he's saying frick all over that locker room, that's for sure.
Oh, Philip Rivers is a family man. He's in there.
Dadgum.
He's supporting him. He's all
Dadgum.
about it. It's okay.
And
it gives Philip more time to go spend with his 17 children. It's okay.
we had a Twitter comment pop through on my stream. It was Dantrell Manning. I'm not entirely sure who that was. Said, Mikey, I'm going to smack that ass when we meet up. So I don't know if that's just one of your many followers or if that's actually a division opponent somewhere. But yeah, you have a fan.
I do, huh? All right, Jay.
Yeah.
I'll see you, Jay.
So that's the AFC South. It's still, fairly close, so I like to see the parity amongst divisions. Then we go to the AFC East, which this is the opposite of parity, which is the Bills. We are our very own Manny running the table 8-0. We've had multiple Jets owners, I do believe. So we now have Mike from Hard Knocks PS4. He came in, took over the Jets. And then we have Joe from the PS4 League coming over at 1-6 with the Patriots, and then the Dolphins we just had to remove because he was inactive for the most part, just not responding. So Dantrell Manning is J Stopper. That's who that is, Mikey. That's your new best friend. So obviously, I mean, this isn't even close. We could just move it along. One thing I'll say is Manny's points for 284, 152. That's pretty solid. That's almost a 2-to-1 ratio right there. So he's doing the Lord's work. But is anybody surprised?
No.
No, not at all. Why would I be surprised? Once again, Manny having no competition absolutely whatsoever in his division.
Oh,
Bum,
wow.
bum, bum.
Happens every
That's
year.
not a shot at Manny. That's not a shot at Manny. Maybe it's him, doing his thing. He's going to struggle here with this division, guys. He is. Let me tell you why. Okay? He is going to struggle trying not to break the 50-point rule. Okay?
Right.
So he's in for a tough situation with this division.
Gotta watch out for those suspensions for
That's right.
Josh Allen.
They rack up, too. Everybody knows. First offense,
They stack.
they stack up, and then suddenly there's people rage quitting. That's what happens. So AFC West, we got the Chiefs, our very own Steen, running 5-3. He's seemed to rattle off a couple wins there recently. Myself, the Raiders, 3-4. I've dropped 2 games in a row. That's not helping me out. And then we got I Know You See It at 3-5, and then O Harmonic, I think, is the Broncos at 2-5. So, looking at it, I'm pretty sure we'll probably get into some of the opponents that the Chiefs have played and myself have played. So, I think this division has a lot of moving parts in it, and now we have I Know You See It in here, which everybody knows I'm his biggest fan. Got the Chargers foam finger on my hand right now, even though I'm in his division. So this will be an interesting division to see shake out.
For a little backstory, for those new guys that don't know, KK was in I Know You See It's division for quite some time.
Yes,
and,
it was.
Some battles to be had, that they had back and forth. So, back at it again. So this should be interesting. Now the question I have is, how you look yourself in the mirror, KK, as a man, knowing that Elstein is winning this division. I mean, what?
All
How can
I know
that possibly be?
is currently I have more wins over him than he has over me. So
It's true.
he can go ahead and own this little time period right now. But I beat him early in the season, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't close. So
Plus,
Not at all.
plus, you look at the schedule that Isteen's had. He's got fake Manny. He got the previous Chargers user who was hot trash, who I made quit the league by beating him like 42-0.
right.
He played the Ravens and lost. He played the Patriots, who I think is Joe, who's not good.
No, he didn't play
got-
Joe. It was the other Patriots who quit.
Who quit? Yep.
Oh, well, there you go.
Another quitter.
KK, who he got manhandled by. He lost to Manny. And then he played E Harmonic, who has been shut out at least once this season. And then the Jets user. His record is a little bit sus to me.
I would agree. We'll get to that in another segment, I'm sure.
Compared to KK's schedule, who has 4 losses, and 3 of them are to the Panthers, who is one of the best teams in the league, to Manny, and to myself, and then the Browns most recently. So he has played a very tough schedule. We'll see.
And outside of your game, even though I feel like it was closer than the score ended up, I felt like all those games, they were one-score games. Actually, was really happy with the way I played Manny. I played the Panthers early, and that was, I think, a one-score game. And then you and I had a battle there of 0 defense. And
That's right.
I mean, it was just like bomb after bomb after bomb, and then a pick happened, and then I got that weird batted down pick at the line of scrimmage. I feel like without one turnover there, like it would have been close, and it would have been the last guy to have the ball. But and honestly though, I would love to see more batted down balls at the line of scrimmage, particularly on drag routes, because that's a real thing. I mean, I didn't hate that that ball was batted down. I hated that it was batted down and then you caught it
Into
and
an
ran it back for
interception.
6. Yeah, it's just like, oh, come on, really?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I digress.
I agree. They was a little
So,
cheesy on that pick six.
yeah, it was rough, hard to take, but it was a fun game. So that's kind of the AFC West. That wraps up the AFC. Takes us to the north of the NFC. Vikings 5-2, which, ooh,
Can I just say before we go fully into it that in that AFC West, the one last thing I'll mention is to watch out for the Chargers. Now that he's in here,
Lolo looks good.
I don't think he's
He
lost a
looks
game since
very
he's
good.
joined. I'm
yeah,
just
you know,
saying.
I would say I was
They're 3-5, and he's on a 3-game win streak currently. So I'm just gonna say that.
but he hasn't played
I
3
think they
games
were
though.
0-2.
Hasn't he only played 1 game?
Played 2. No, he played 2.
I think his first game
No.
was Dolphins, right? Or
He
no?
played the Dolphins. Yep,
He
because
just
he's played them
he
all
just beat
sitting
Penn.
right in front of me.
He just
Yeah,
beat
he
Penn
just beat
last
Penn.
week.
Now he was up on Penn by like 21 points, and he let Penn come back. I will
Oh,
say
really?
that, but he did end up beating Penn, and I mean, like, again, he hasn't lost since he joined.
I didn't realize he had played 2.
He might be the dark horse.
That's
in the
a
division.
big win for him, and I was surprised to see his first game in that he won
Whooped
like
ass.
easily.
Oh, he whooped his ass.
Oh yeah, I figured there would be a little bit more of a transitional game where he's just like what, but you know the game is slower, and he's already a good player on PS4, so it does translate in my view.
Mm-hmm.
I almost think it makes you a little bit
And
better.
He's run heavy too. He runs the ball, so you can definitely run the ball on this one.
Week 12 against the Bills, looming large. Look out for that game in the pick'ems.
Oof.
Him and KK are about to play this week.
Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait.
So
Rivalry
that is a
renewed.
battle.
That's right.
That's a
Rivalry
big
renewed.
game.
That is a huge game for me.
Get the Bart Scott meme out.
That's
Get
right.
The, get the
Massive
fade
game.
route out, KK. You got this, buddy.
Oh, I
Get
got
the fade
that
out.
cheese fade, baby.
That
Hell yeah, you
Rose
do.
cheese.
That's such a massive game that it's in
Nobody-
Week 9 pick'ems.
Yeah.
That's one thing I will say is nobody that he's played yet has shown him how broken the defense is. So I'm looking forward to you doing that, KK. And I'll probably have a front row seat. So.
I hope so. It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. So NFC North, we got the Vikings, which if anybody can help me out on that guy's name, I don't remember.
Key to Slimy.
That's slimy.
Key to Slimy. Very good. Leading the division quietly, mind you, leading that division. He seems like he's been under the radar. He's actually winning games with a worse points for versus points against. So that's interesting. Must be winning. Like, how do you do that?
Possession. He's the
He must have got
anti-Chargers.
smacked. He got smacked in the one game. And
Is that what it
he
was?
just won a bunch of squeakers, probably.
Yeah. And then we have our very own Greg with the Lions at 4-3. Greg, how do you feel not, leading your division? Oh wait, what's that? Greg's not here? It's odd. It almost coincides with how he's doing in the league is how often he's on the podcast.
Did I break Greg?
You might have broken Greg. Actually, if anybody broke Greg, it was Mikey.
Broke him.
Mikey, you just beat Greg, didn't you?
I hate to kick a dog while he's down, but I absolutely rock bottomed this dog. And we were John just said, whoever's playing, who are we talking about? Whoever's playing the other opponent hasn't showed him how broken defense is. Who are we talking about, John?
I know you see
I
it.
know you see it.
I know you see it. Well, Greg was supposed to show me how badly defense is broken. But, number one in the league in points against, I don't want to hear any of that broken defense. This game is this game is that,
So
That's
basically,
all I'll say.
all you needed to do was just always back off your coverage at the last second, and he couldn't do anything. Is that what you're telling me?
I don't want to reveal my secrets, but it's something along those lines, but, with a little extra sprinkles. But,
Well, he's had a bad stretch, too, because he played Penn, he played myself, and then he played Mikey. So, I mean, it's very understandable that Germ may put him on a milk carton very
I
soon.
was just gonna say we definitely need the milk carton meme right now.
But he's got Slimy coming up. That's week 9 for him. So
Big
that's going to
game.
be a good matchup. Big game right there. The first time of 2 of them playing. So that'll be big to see who's going to potentially actually win the division.
Wait, that's his next game
Yeah,
is
that's week 9.
Slimy?
Yep, Slimy. And then they
Oh,
play
I
again
thought
at
it
the
was
end of the
Panthers.
season.
Panthers was talking like he was playing him next. So we were
Panthers
talking about
plays
him maybe
him
getting
week
his.
11.
Yeah, no
So
chance Greg loses 4 in a row. There's no chance. He's got too much pride for that.
Well, I was just gonna
yeah,
say,
he's
like, shout out to Mikey because I'm pretty sure you said, Greg, you're gonna be on a 4-game losing streak before he had lost to you
Lost the
and the
second game.
previous opponent.
Yeah, I did. I did. And I said that without looking at his schedule. I knew he played Penn, I knew he played John, and I knew he played myself, but I was under the assumption he played Panthers next cuz Panthers was chatting it up on the voice on the party chat. So he kind of screwed me up, but hey, go do your thing, Slimy. Go get that 4 game losing streak for Greg, which but guys, we know, right? Greg is he can take any team in the league and get to the promised land, right?
Oh,
Right.
well, that's what this year's supposed to prove. That's for sure.
That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard.
Yeah,
I
but I
heard
will give him
crickets.
credit.
That's all I heard.
Greg's my boy. He's got 251 points for, 219 against. Plays good defense. Looks like he just lost a couple games, and I think he'll right the ship and definitely compete for that.
Greg should win this division. I mean, if he
Yeah.
doesn't, I'll be very disappointed. I'm ready to call this division for Greg.
I mean, I would say based on history, but if there's one thing that we shouldn't be doing here, I think if Slick was on the pod, he would be like, I'm just dealing with the facts right now as I see them.
In the facts, but here's the deal. Here's why I made that statement, right? He literally had this one of the toughest stretches. Oh boy, here comes Jern. Here comes the
Woo!
milk
That
delivery.
is a great photo, too.
Uh,
Greg had arguably the toughest stretch of his schedule. And I just witnessed, maybe I'm a little emotional on this, but the Packers user is, if you guys don't know, is my brother-in-law. And he almost beat Slimy, okay? And I witnessed that. And I'm like, that's not a good look. That's
That's not a good
that's
look on
not a good look
Slimy.
at all. I saw that game and I was like, nope, this is Greg's division.
Oh, gotcha. So there's some context. Man, if only Greg looked like Keanu Reeves. And then we have our
so
very
yeah,
own
I'm gonna say
Mookie.
I think it is Greg's. I think it is Greg's division when it's all said and done. But the games against Slimy are gonna really tell who wins it. I think because if Slimy wins those games, Slimy wins the division. Because Greg's rest of his schedule doesn't do him any favors either. I'll just say that. So
Yeah, and I'm assuming they haven't played yet either.
no, they got to play 2 games still.
They
So
got
that's
2
week
games to
9 and
go.
then week 17. So that might be a division that comes down to this week 17 game
Whew.
against these two as well.
And
So
it
it's
really
going to be
it
a fun
comes
one to
down
watch.
to, is Greg in the right headspace going forward? Because if there's one thing I know
True.
about Greg is he can get down on himself pretty fast, and that 3-game losing streak could really weigh down on him. I mean, it could be trouble, but I think he should win this division for sure. But then, once again, we have Mookie, which is Jabbar with the Bears 3-5. I was actually surprised. Like, does anybody have a reason why Jabbar's struggling so much?
I do. Jabbar never fails me. And every season he has played me, he beats me and then goes away for the rest of the year. Goes away. Never fails. I really hate Jabbar.
Well, tell us how you really feel, Michael.
No, I'm not even kidding. This is like literally the 4th season where, stuff's going on, right, or whatever, and then he'll play, and then all of a sudden I never hear from Jabbar again. And I'm like, really? My game, you show up, no one else is like, it is what it is.
So check this out. Of those teams in that division, Jabbar has the easiest remaining schedule. So Jabbar has a legitimate shot to win this division. but
Wow.
he
There you
pulled
go.
out.
So basically, like the reason he's losing is because he's had a tough road so far, is what you're saying?
He's had to play the worst, the terrible. He's had to play terrible so far. That's what I would say. Let me look at it right now. He's had to play Greg, all right, but he's had to play the Giants, who the Giants are good. He's had to play myself. He's had to play Mikey. He's had to play Jern, the Panthers, the
Whew.
Rams, which that was a not played game. He got the sim win on that, but whatever. And he just recently lost to the Saints, so that was kind of that's an iffy one. But
Hmm.
he's
What was
definitely
the
had
score of
the
that
harder
Saints
part of
game?
his schedule.
20 to
20
31
to
Saints.
31. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause going through um, for my segment, I was looking at the Saints. I kept seeing his name, and I'm like, I just don't know what to think of this guy here. So I was
He's
curious.
not a bad user. I
Hmm.
played him early in the season, maybe the first game, and he put up some points. He's not that bad.
Yeah, and that's kind of the way I felt about it, but I just wasn't sure. So that's Frizzle. So we'll have to check in on him in a bit, and then obviously, Mikey, you were talking about your brother-in-law, 0-7, giving the Vikings a run for his money. So hopefully he can, you know, make it through the season, draft a little bit here or there, and make a run at it next year. Because I don't think he's doing a whole lot, but he's new, right?
Yeah, he's very new, and he's new to online competitive like play like this. He's your casual. Like I always joke around how I'm casual.
Mm-hmm.
He's legit. Hey, put on the game. I'm gonna buy like Madden or buy FIFA and just play head to head. I talked him up, prior to him joining the league. I showed him Discord. I showed him, because like I said, he was an Xbox guy. And I told him, I was like, hey, when PS5 comes, and you get it, I'll get you in this league. It's really fun. And he's a cool guy. He's just going to need to practice. And, like, for example, today he ran a screen towards the end. I don't know if you guys watched his game. He had the win. I called him afterwards, and I was like, you literally played not to lose that game as opposed to playing to win.
Mm-hmm.
He was just trying to run the clock, and it was like second and long. The other guy had 3 timeouts, so even if he ran, he was going to be able to stop the clock, and he still ran as opposed to try to get a 10-yard play to then convert the third down. He ran a screen pass, and the defensive end kind of just. I mean, the Slimy read that play like so easy, and he still made the throw, and I'm like, oh my god. It just showed that was a rookie mistake. So I think he just needs to get a little bit more practice, and he'll be a little bit better.
Right on.
I would agree with that because I played him, and when I played him, he showed flashes. Like he's not a
Hmm.
bad user, but yeah, he's not used to it yet, and you could tell like he doesn't quite know all the buttons and all that stuff yet. He's got to get used to running his plays, but once he's done that, like he'll be all right.
In the last league, he had a pretty good defense from what I saw. Like he wasn't good at all on offense, but his defense was pretty solid. So if he can figure out the offensive part, he'd be an okay team.
I hear that.
Yes, KK. Yes.
So the NFC South, we have C-Dev, the Panthers, 8-0. We got our very own John 6-2 Falcons, and then we have our very own Jerns, 5-3, and then the man we were just talking about, Frizzle, 3-4.
Hmm.
So there's
Good
definitely some
division.
disparity here. What were you gonna say, Jern?
Just saying, good division.
Yeah. So definitely got some space between the top and everyone else, but I think I'm not worried about anybody else in this division. I know Jern's going to play solid. I know John's going to play solid. John, though, I think is in much worse shape because you've played the Panthers twice and lost both times.
I only
Well, one
played
was a
him
force.
once.
Oh, one
Yeah,
was a
one was a.
force.
Yeah, one was a force because it was like the last game to get played, and we were scheduled, but like everybody wanted to advance, and it was one of those where you got like 17 people in the thing going advance, 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 and then they start saying it in different languages and shit, and I'm like, whatever, just give this dude the
Sit
win
down.
because I wasn't there the one night we already had scheduled it, like, and I wasn't really worried about giving up, one game, but. Now that I look back after the game I just played against him, I wish I would have played him in the first game because I
Mm.
don't know. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season, next season. I hope I get to play him in the playoffs.
No doubt. What
Call it
about you,
now.
Jern?
I was up on him big and let him back in the game, and he won on a 2 point conversion after he got freight train on McCaffrey and ran inside zone 17 times in the last drive. So,
Oh, a little play calling issue.
well, he knows he did it, and I know he did it. And then he kind of pulled a bitch move on the field goal try that shouldn't have been a field goal try, but we won't talk about it. But yeah, we'll play again. We play in 2 weeks, so we'll see what happens. He's a good user though.
Good
Yeah,
deal.
he's good.
Yeah, I mean,
I wish
and
I
looking
hadn't
at
given Jabbar. I wish I hadn't given Jabbar that force win. Looking back, I'm going to need that game
yeah,
eventually. So
that's going to kind of be the story of this division, isn't it? Like that's both you and John. I mean,
yeah.
Well,
that is
big
tough,
thing,
man.
I think potentially 3 teams from this division make the playoffs.
Oh, I have no doubt about that.
Yeah, especially if 7 teams go. Absolutely, if 7 teams
Hmm.
go to the playoffs, yeah,
Well,
three
it's
teams
it's
from
the
here
new
going to
AFC North, right, Mikey?
Absolutely.
Just got
Nice.
another live tweet
I
from Jay Stopper says by the time the next podcast hits, the Steelers will be 500. Just write that on your calendars.
Hot take,
Put it
hot
on the
take. Stephen
board.
A. Stephen A. just broke some news. Stephen A. He was yelling and screaming to that.
But I will
Blasphemous.
say the points for and points against in this division are very good. Obviously, Panthers 333. They're 100 points scored over what they give up. John holding it down with 180 point. Well, no, I'm sorry, 80 points. My bad. I'm not good at math. Clearly, 80 points. That's solid. And then Jern, you got your roughly 67 points, I think. So you guys you play
Close.
good defense and score a lot of points. So good work. This
Yeah,
wear
might
your
I'm
track shoes. You come in to play this division.
I don't wanna give away much of my top 10, notes, but I'm curious to see the Panthers is coming out, clearly the best offense so far in the season. As the Jerns and the John Johns play him more and get more film on him on defense, I'm curious to see because he gives up a lot of points. So we'll see.
Like I said, Mikey, I wish I would have got to play that first game. So yeah, what
it
Mikey
might have
said.
made a difference in your second game, right?
Oh, it absolutely would have
Yeah.
made a difference in my second game. If I would have known this guy was just going to run cover two zone 50% of the time, I would
Ooh.
have done,
Ooh.
a little
Oh,
bit more.
oh, another play
That's
calling
pretty
infraction. Is that what we got here?
pretty close to that 55% arbitrary number there, KK.
That's pretty close. I might have to go review the game film.
Oh,
Hold up. Let
watch
me go
out.
get my marker.
Destroy the tape, Panthers. Destroy it. They're coming for you, bro. I know what it's like. Run! Run!
You don't want this smoke. So NFC East, we got the Giants 8-1. Let's see who we got as the owner there.
That's Rayshawn.
Ray Sean. Okay, 8-1. He's doing the
Rayshawn
work.
slash Farrell.
That's right. Ray Sean, the producer. Is that his nickname?
Oh, is that
Rayshawn, the
Farrell?
designer.
The designer.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I've
The
heard of
That.
Farrell. Oh, I didn't know that
Yeah.
was him. People have
Yep.
talked about him before. Oh, well, I would have taken that game much more seriously if I had known that. Sweet.
Yep. So in Group Me, the season that I was in before HK, he went by Farrell, and then when I added him on here, his name was Rashawn. So he's Rashawn Farrell to me. So
Gotcha.
solid user, very solid user. He was mad at me for not having him higher on the power rankings, even though he didn't have as many quality wins. I mean, it was the way too early top 10, right? But
right.
it's doing well.
Panthers
He's
is
gonna whip my
calling
ass.
you out there, Jern.
I think he's calling John out, not me. He was never
Oh,
three scores on me.
maybe that's what it
I
was.
mean, realistically, at the end of the day, he won the game off a 62-yard field goal that he only made because he had an 8-mile-an-hour wind in his favor. So I don't really want to get down to
But wind doesn't
stats.
work.
Okay. I never said that.
John, what is it? How does it feel like to have a
But
perfect passer
at the
rating,
end of the
five
day, it's his
touchdowns?
offense. It's his offense you got to stop. His offense is good. He's getting yards. The dude, Christian McCaffrey's a monster. So, I mean,
Dude's a glitch,
it is
for
what it
sure.
is.
He
Yeah,
is
he is.
very good.
McCaffrey's got something. He's taking juice before the game, man. It's amazing. But
Test that, man.
So then we got the Eagles, which is our very own Buns, 6-2. Football team, which is Quiet Storm, I believe, 5-3, and then the Cowboys, which is Shango, friend of mine from another league. So, I mean, Shango came in, I think, at 0-2, so he's definitely not having much luck. Looks like he's rebuilding with that trade, getting rid of Dak. But yeah, I mean, the Giants are playing well, and we know Buns is going to play well. And Quiet Storm, I think, played a couple really good games, so he seems to be playing well too. So this is another pretty similar division to your guys' division over there in the South. I would say it's probably anybody's game, and not to like give up the secrets for the later segments. I'll just leave it at that. I think there's some suspected, or some sus, as Jern would say, division leaders, in my opinion. So we'll see. We'll see where that goes.
Are you saying Giants is sus?
I kind of think he might be.
He's got a lot of points for him. That dude
He does have a lot of points for. Hot take. It's a hot take.
That's more than the Panthers.
I just
This
played
dude is
him. Well, he
balling.
has one more game. He has one more game played, but
Yeah.
I just played him. He's pretty good. I will say, I watched the game that he played right before he played me, and I did not think that he was that good. based on that
Let's
game
just
film.
let's just say I was on the party chat with Jern.
I had thoughts about who he was, and then he came out against me and played a completely different game, completely different style, completely different defense, completely different offense, everything. So he's pretty good. I don't know if he would be on my pretenders list.
Interesting. Okay.
His schedule remaining's not, it could. People might say it's in his favor. So
Interesting.
One might say.
All right, so then this will be a fun one to watch, kind of see how it shakes out, and then we'll round out the NFC West. We have our very own AO 49ers, 4-4, holding down the fort, rocking this division. Is this the worst division in the NFL?
Well,
I'll
let's
be honest.
just start off
GMs for
by,
trades.
We all need to sit here and put our both feet in our mouths right now after all the trash that we gave the 49ers, and this dude is currently leading the division. Get out of here.
I will say, I do not know a single other user in the division, but the fact that you just told me
Stars
that
the
AO
Seahawks.
is leading it, that automatically tells me that this is the worst division. Automatically. I don't need to know anything else about the division. This is the worst division.
Slick
Well,
just joined it,
guys,
though. So
guys, let me break some real stats to you. He lost 31-0 to the Cardinals. He lost 55-45 to the Jets. Lost 49-29 to the Giants. Lost 24-9 to the Eagles. Now, free win against the Dolphins. Free win against the Rams. Free win against the Patriots. He has won one game through 8 weeks of football. Book it. Ram City is going to win this division.
Wow. Mikey,
I don't even think Slick is going to be that good for now, but I would agree with that assessment.
If Slick
to
doesn't
get
win
used
this
to the
division, if Slick...
That would be an
Lolo just came in
embarrassment.
here and... Lolo just came in here, plugged
That's
in.
true.
The dude doesn't own a PS5. The guy is getting on his moped, driving to John John's house, saying, John, I got you this $5.99 pepperoni pizza so you can let me use your PS5.
and let me borrow a headband.
He's dropping bombs on people, okay? Dropping bombs, okay? People's elbow. If Slick does not win this division, okay, I'm going to give Slick more hell than I give Greg, all right?
Yeah, no doubt.
With Donald, the way pass rush is, with the way that DTs are wrecking havoc, he has Aaron Donald. Like, Slick, he's winning this division at the
Yeah,
end.
but
We're
see,
gonna do a
that would
podcast
require
later on,
Slick.
and
That would require Slick usering the DT to make it happen, though.
No,
And-
no, not necessarily. So I was using Buckner early on. The game that I did not use Buckner at all, he got 4 sacks. So we'll see.
I mean, I would hope that Donald would be a force, but, we'll see. So we got Drago that obviously
Um,
took one off of the Niners, and then our very own Dardar, 1-6. Like,
mhm.
I mean, Dar, he couldn't wait to just be like, I'm done with the PS4. I'm just going to go PS5. And you can't tell me he's not looking back at that Titans team and being like, maybe I like it over here
Yeah.
better.
It's weird what happens when your running back doesn't fall forward 5 yards every play.
Right?
Oh man.
Chris Carson ain't got the juice apparently.
Clearly.
He should have sent me DK at the trade deadline. That's what he should have
Oh,
done.
oh my
'Cause he ain't
goodness.
using him.
Jeez.
Whatever.
That dude ran past me. I played him in like my first. We played in like our first or second game of the season. And DK is just wow,
Dude's a
He's a
wow.
beast. So that pretty much wraps up the standings. Obviously, a lot of parity amongst divisions and just a couple standouts that people are running away with it. So I always love seeing everybody in the mix all the way up until week 17. So I'm happy to see it. So I would say that would lead us nicely into the on-time top 10.
Yeah.
But
On-
1 second, though, Big Serbo Drago of the Cardinals did just live tweet me and say that the Cardinals are winning this division. Book it. He's going
Ooh.
to the playoffs.
He's got a chance.
All right, I like the confidence.
He's had some rough games that he's had to play, but his schedule doesn't do him any favors going forward.
And
He
and
just
to
trade
be,
He's going
away
to
his
get a
whole
couple
team.
of wins, but
did he trade away his whole
Traded away
team?
all of his. He's traded away Chandler Jones and Patrick Peterson and Buda Baker and
Oh, that's right. He did trade
Isabella.
Buddha. You're right. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
he traded away Buda Baker and then traded for Jeremy Chin. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't get it. Plus, he
Yeah.
complains about Kyler Murray after every single game, saying he's trash and he can't play with him. So, I mean, but I guess, buddy, go ahead.
You do you.
He's got a chance. He's got a chance. He's not,
Well, I
his
think
schedule doesn't do him
Dar
any
has a chance. I mean, he's only 3 games back.
That's true. Hey, maybe Dar knocks off the rust and remembers how to pass like he did that one season when Henry was hurt, and then he could be trouble over here. But
Ayo Polo 15 has a chance, guys. Like everyone has a chance.
That's right.
The guy's got one win through
Handing
8
out
weeks of
participation
ball.
trophies now.
How?
Division
Oh,
leader,
man.
baby. Division leader.
Serbo throwing
Leader.
some shade at the Niners, saying he's trash, calling him out.
Seahawks too. Said
He
Seahawks
played 'em,
trash,
yeah.
too.
Dumpster fire emoji. So
It's like watching Ray Charles and Helen Keller get in a fight.
He did smoke the 49ers in the first game of the season, though. I'm pretty sure.
dang. All right, so for the on-time top 10, Mikey, take it away.
All right, guys. So I decided to do. We haven't done this in a top 10 in a while, but I got 3 teams in the honorable mention. And the reason I did honorable mention, the first one was way too early, top 10. So, I just threw up 10 guys on there who looked impressive through 2 weeks. We didn't know much about most of them. But now we kind of got a little grasp of some of these users. And we'll start off with the Browns. And I don't have these guys in no particular order, okay, for the honorable mentions for these 3. We'll start off with the Browns. The Browns is 5-3. He's in that division with the Ravens and Bengals right now. I think the Ravens is 5-2. The Browns and the Bengals are both 5-3. I played the Browns. He's a very good user. He beat the Ravens, who's winning the division, and he split with the Bengals. So one of you guys made a comment that they're beating up on each other. So I decided to put him in here because he's got a quality win against a division leader, and I played against him and saw that he was doing very well. And I believe, looking up on the power rankings, the way too early he was in at number 6. So that's who I got there for first honorable mention. The second honorable mention, he was at number 7 on the way too early, and that's Elstein with the Chiefs. Now, I put him in here, okay? I believe his record is 5-3, right?
You would be correct.
Yeah, 5-3. He has no impressive wins. Now, you can say that his losses were I promise I do not mean that as a shot at all.
No, clearly it's not.
Yeah, it's just he's got the Chiefs, who's high-powered offense. He came up short against the Ravens, which is a 5-2 team. He came up short. I mean, he came up way short against the Raiders. I believe he conceded, right? I mean, what kind of man concedes?
Actually,
That's like
yeah, what
Conor
kind of man
McGregor tapping
concedes?
out
Yeah,
to Habib. When you just tap out, you have had enough. And then he lost to Manny. So those are three guys where if he could have won one of those guys against one of those three users, it could have put something on his resume worthy of getting into the top 10.
right.
But he's winning the games he's supposed to. Who knows? I don't know the Ravens very well. That Raiders game just looked so bad, just such a bad game. So, but he's the honorable mention. Just he dropped from the 7th spot to outside of the top 10. So that's my second honorable mention. The third honorable mention, and he's only on here because I want to gloat about a 3-game losing streak. So that is Gregory, the Lions. Honorable mention, buddy, for losing 3 in a row.
How many spots is
Have
that
him on
down?
here. He
Is that even? Can you calculate that with an honorable mention?
listen, Greg. Greg was at number 4. Greg was at number 4 on the way too early power rankings. Okay, he looked pretty good. He beat, I believe, right off the bat, he beat Jabbar,
He did.
58-49. He slapped the Packers, which is very. That's not surprising.
Yeah,
He
he's
beat the
supposed to.
Cardinals, who's supposed to be right. The Cardinals is listening. He's supposed to be a division winner, according to him.
Right.
So he beat him.
Low scoring game too.
Yeah, so he went on a 4-game win streak. But like I said, there's a lot. The mix between the top or the bottoms. I should say the top 4 teams in the top 10 with some of these guys outside of it. It's very close. But I have Greg as my third honorable mention at 4-3.
Yeah, and he did lose a heartbreaker to Penn, but go on.
Yeah, that was that. I mean, yeah, you can just call. I mean, could that been what had broken? I forgot about that. Could that be
Yeah.
what broke Greg? How do you get beat? You're the guy who's been the most outspoken about how broken this game is, and then
Right.
you run prevent zone.
And like Manny said, and covers the halfback. Like he has no
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
It's hilarious.
so those are my honorable mentions. We'll kick it off now, guys. A quick update. There was a game between 2 of the top 10 guys who've already played for this week. Okay, the Giants beat the Washington football team, so there was a little bit of a shakeup here in the top 10 while this podcast has started. But no change at number 10. Okay, no change at number 10. I got the Bengals at 5-3. Okay, the Bengals, and the reason I got him at number 10 at 5-3, he has wins against the Eagles, Buns. He's got wins against the Browns, who's also 5-3, and he's got a win against Niles, who Niles came out looking pretty strong early. His losses, okay, no
One
spoilers,
thing.
but his
You're talking about the Bengals, right?
correct.
Yeah, and he beat Penn.
Correct. He beat Penn. So don't want to spoil the who's above him in the top 10, but his two of his losses were against guys that are above him in the power rankings. So that's who I have at number 10. That's the Bengals, 5-3. Going up to number 9. Originally, I had a gentleman who's joining us in the podcast, but I had to make a shift. So number 9 is going to be the Washington football team, who I originally had him at 7, but I had to drop him off 2 spots. And the reason is he just got pounded by the Giants. And go to the
Yeah, he did. He
Washington
lost
football team
42
here.
to 23. It's a tough loss.
Yeah, so tough loss. And if you realize that's 2 losses to the Giants now, and he lost to Buns week 1, but those 2 losses to the Giants, that's the Giants just flexing on him, saying, I'm just that much better than you. 45 to 21 and 42 to 23.
Also
Pretty
saying
impressive
that's
wins.
My division.
Absolutely. So that's who I got at number 9. I had him up higher, but this loss to the Giants kind of dropped him a couple spots. So number 8, all right, number 8, I have the Ravens. The Ravens at 5-2,
Okay.
and the
All right.
Ravens, they lost to the Browns, who was an honorable mention. They lost to the football team, who was at number 9. So his 2 losses are against guys in the top 10 in the power rankings right now. He's got wins against the Chiefs, who was earlier on. He's also an honorable mention. And he's got wins against the Bengals, who was at number 10, and he's got a win against the Eagles, who are 6-2. So he's got good wins, and his losses have been to quality guys. So, these guys are, like you said, beating up on each other, and they seem like they're good users and very,
Evenly matched.
very evenly. Yeah, correct. Thank you. Evenly matched. So that's who I have at number
Real quick,
8.
have of the last 2, I think, have either of them shown up on the previous way too early power rankings?
You talking about the Ravens and the
And
football team?
yeah, the football team.
Washington football team, no, neither of them have.
Neither. Okay. Yeah. All right. I just thought I'd
So
check.
they made some jump, and coming in at number 7. All right, number 7. Now I had this guy was at number 8, so it made a shift. That's our very own Jern here with the Bucks. He's at number 7. Okay, he's 5-3 now. Now, Jern, I got respect for you. Okay, got respect for you. Clearly a good user. But free win Fridays. Those are going to come back to haunt you. The Friday nights where you're feeling too good and you're going to go out with the boys and you just said, "Hey, take the win." That's going to catch up to you one of these days. So
Does that
here's the
make me
deal.
a worse user, or does that make me just have less wins?
I don't know, but here's the deal. You can say what you want about the Saints. You beat them pretty easily, 52. He put up some points. Okay, this was earlier on when people were putting up a lot of points on offense. You beat the Broncos, who is not a very good user. You beat the Chargers. He beat the he beat the Chargers, who I believe was the Chargers who quit prior to Lolo coming in.
Yep.
And then he beat the Packers, and then he beat KK. Man, I was about to say he has no impressive wins. Oh my God, KK. Sorry about that.
Hey,
but I'm gonna stick. I'm gonna stick to the notes.
I get it.
I'm gonna stick to the notes. No impressive wins at this point. And I put there's no such things as quality loss, right? I mean, that's kind of one of those things. But if there is, he lost by 1 point to the Panthers, who's 8-0. It was a game winner. If you guys did not watch the game, so he put up mad points on the Panthers, who's 8-0, and he also lost to the Giants, who is one of the better users right now as well. So he's got 2 losses against 2 of the better teams in the league. And what I put here, the reasoning why putting him at number 7 here was he's got the 3rd best offense right now in the league at 36 points per game.
All right.
So Jern's going to score some points, and as he figures out this game, I'm telling you guys, it's going to annoy the hell out of you. So watch out for the Bucks. Just that loss to Jabbar, man, that's got to be hurting Jern right now. It's one of those worst hangovers, right? You go out and you come back and you're like, what did I do? Anyways, number 6. Now I hate because I'm a casual and I hate talking about myself, but I cannot ignore the least amount of points given up when you've played Penn, when you played Greg, when you played Jabbar, when you played Browns and Bengals, who are both top 10 or honorable mentions, okay?
And now we know why the Browns are in the honorable mention catalog.
Now the whole honorable mention thing makes sense.
It makes total sense now.
Right?
So he gets to put the Browns in there
before.
And the Bengals at 10, and it's like, oh well, look at me! Look what I do over here.
So okay. So since we're on that topic, Browns number 1. Browns beat the Ravens, who's leading the division, 42-14 week 1. He then beats the Browns 38-31. He then beat who's the Raiders, guys? He beat them 42-35. Who is that?
Whoa, 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 whoa! That game was way closer than that looked. That's all I know.
Oh, okay. Okay,
He
gotcha.
actually,
All I
he
can see,
actually
KK, is
had
the
to.
score.
I know. He actually though had to march down the field, and he got every broken tackle animation, and then had 3 people wide open in the end zone for his 2-point conversion. It was sickening. It was the most frustrating thing I've
No.
ever had. But
Hey,
go on.
hey, hey, I understand. I understand. So if you look at the Browns, he beat the Ravens, who's in the top 10. He beat the Bengals, who's at number 10. He lost to the football team, who was at number 9. Okay? He whooped on the Cowboys. Holy smokes, he beat the Cowboys badly. 52. Is that a point? Oh, that was a rule break. I remember that.
Uh-oh.
Uh,
And then he beat Jace. Oh, I'll just skip that one. He then beat.
Guys. I only have
Goodness.
one thing to say in response, in rebuttal to this. Mikey lost by double digits to Jabbar, who has not won a game on the PS5 besides Mikey.
Oh.
If you don't know, if you want some context to that.
There's context. Of course there
One
is.
word. One word. One word. One word. One word. Can
Bourbon.
you guess it?
Is it bourbon?
Oh. Ding, 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 ding.
Why am I getting penalized for my forced loss to Jabbar
Oh, wait,
when you
he
actually
also-
played the man and lost by double digits, and he hasn't won a single game that he's actually played on
Because
the PS5.
like I said, it's what Jabbar does. He plays me, vanishes. Okay?
He also
it doesn't
lost to the
fail.
Vikings, who he self-admittedly said earlier is questionable for his game
I
against the
did,
Packers.
I did, and I don't like to make excuses, but since we're talking about the power ranking top 10, the stream is up. Go watch the game against the Vikings and make the case for yourself. I had 4 fumbles, 2 throwaway sacks, whatever you guys want to call it. Phillip Rivers gets touched and fumbles. He picks it up and returns it for a touchdown. I had Hines. I had a game-winning drive to go and kick a field goal at his 25-yard line. Hines is about a foot away from out of bounds, and he's running out. He gets hit. He fumbles the ball. The ball stays in bounds magically. He picks it up. So no excuses. It's behind me. All I can do is go on and win. So
Yeah, clearly you're
All I
over
say-
it.
No excuses except for the excuses.
Oh,
that you just
no.
read.
My wins. My wins.
And real
Listen,
quick,
listen.
Jay Stopper wants you to keep this same energy because he's going to whip that ass later because he was on hotel Wi-Fi last time.
Ooh, week 16. Week 16.
Oh my gosh.
See,
Stopper,
Mikey, what you didn't realize was when you volunteered to do the top 10, you were not prepared for the slings and arrows that would be coming your way. Now you.
I also didn't expect me to be top 6.
No one else did either, Mikey. No one else did
Hey,
either.
but listen, you can, like I said, the Browns record, you just saw it. He
Are
beat
we
the
still
Ravens.
talking about the
He
Colts
beat
at
the
6
Bengals.
like this? I mean, aren't we past this yet?
We can move.
No. That was just the Browns. Go look at the Bengals. All right, going forward. So, anyways, before I got cut off, the Colts still looking nice, 5-2 with Phillip Rivers. One of the best defenses in the league. The Colts user, he beat Penn week 1, beat the Browns, beat the Bengals, beat Greg.
Colts user.
Solid users. So moving on to number 5. Moving on. And number 5's lucky. Number 5's lucky he's at number 5 because I didn't feel like talking about myself in the top 5. But anyways, that is Buns. Eagles at 6-2. He's Buns. He lost to the Bengals. Buns is a great user, guys. Who's the Bengals user? Who's the Bengals have played? I don't know.
Isn't that
Yeah, I'm geeked.
Yeah, geeked. Who did the Bengals lose to? He's 5-3. Oh, he lost to the Colts. But anyways, Buns. He lost.
Are we back at
he
number
lost,
6 again? Okay,
No,
just
no.
checking.
We're talking about Buns' opponents.
Oh, okay.
We're talking
than
about
Greg.
who we're,
This is worse
we're
than
talking
Greg.
about we're talking about who Buns has lost to, which is the Bengals and Ravens. Hey, Ravens is a top 10, Bengals is a top 10, but he does have a win against the Giants, okay? The one blemish on the Giants resume came courtesy of Buns. So 6-2, really impressive win beating the Giants. And his only 2 losses are against top 10 guys. So that's why I got, Eagles at 5.
Nice.
Number 4 is my guy, John, coming in at 6-2. I want to put him higher. I just can't. With the force, even though it's a force, he got the only force he has was against the same user, and he got beat. But he did beat Greg. He beat Jabbar pretty easily, but he did lose. And the three people ahead of him, I just can't find a way to put him above any of them. So I got the Falcons at 6-2.
I like it. I don't want to be ranked high as it is, though. I like
Yeah.
having,
Everybody
a
beats
mountaintop
Jabbar
to
pretty
look up
easily,
to.
though, right, Mikey?
No, not everybody. I'll be the first to admit.
Oh, okay.
Not everybody. I'm an honest
Jabbar,
guy.
who's he beat? Who's Jabbar beat? Who have the
I
Bears
keep
beat?
the top 10. I keep the top 10, honest.
Mm.
So, anyways, now the reason I couldn't put the Falcons above number 3, it's the Giants. Okay, 8-1. He just whooped on the football team. His loss to Buns, but he redeemed it with a huge win against Jern and the Buccaneers. So, that's an impressive win. Jern's he's a top 10 guy. He's not top 5-ish, but he's top 10. So
Not on some
he's
lists.
got two. So now he's got 2 wins against the football team that I mentioned early, that he just slapped him. I mean, just absolutely owned him. And he's got a win against the Bucks. But he did lose against Buns. So, curious to see how his next game against Buns. His next game is against Buns. See if he can redeem himself by, beating the Eagles. So that's the Giants at number 3. That's who I got there.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Hard to argue.
Yes, exactly. He's defending that argument himself. He's got the dubs, quality wins. He's getting it in, man. I will also say I think it's going to be interesting to see how your 5 and 6 team and your rankings shake out after the trade deadline, because
Oh, yeah.
Buns got rid of some talent, some big weapons for him, realistically, and you gained that. And I mean, you also got rid of some weapons, realistically. So we'll see what happens.
Also, one thing I will say for number 3, the Giants user also beat Jabbar. So that's just something to consider.
Oh, that's big.
That's what we call a quality win here, boys.
Quality win.
Yeah.
Quality win.
There's not many
It was a
quality
sim, though.
losses.
It was a sim, though. Hold on. It was a sim win.
Oh,
Let's
okay.
not give him
That
too
must have
much
been the
credit.
only way. That
Anyway,
Hold on.
I appreciate you, Jern. I appreciate you, Jern, for backing up my case. Where the hell is Mookie? Where is he?
Mookie needs to be on a milk carton.
That's
Bro,
right.
he plays me. I'm telling you, it doesn't fail. It's Newton's law, man.
Well, I will tell you
Anyways.
one thing. To that point, I do feel like, as a commissioner, people want your head. And so they circle those games on their schedule, and they're like, it doesn't matter what my record is. I'm playing that game, and I'm going to beat him because he's always causing me problems. Right, Jern? Like, you're coming after me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, Mikey, I think Jabbar sees you, and he's like, oh, that's Mikey. Okay, now I'm going to go show up for this game. I'll miss the next 4, but I'm showing up for that one. So I definitely understand where you're coming from there.
That's okay.
I think there's
I'm
definitely
not.
users that you circle on the schedule too, especially with some of us with pass and stuff like that. Either, I mean, also like you said, being a commissioner or the top 10 rankings. There's definitely games on the schedule that you're circling going into.
Yep. All right, breaking down the top 2. The top 2 users, hard to argue against them at this point. Number 2, I got the Panthers at 8-0, best offense in the game. Now, I wrote on him. He's got big wins. He's got big wins against the Falcons, and he's got a big win against the Bucks. Like I said earlier when we were doing the division breakdown, I want to see more out of this guy on defense. I think his defense may be a little sus, just because. I mean, he gave up 33 to KK, 49 to the Bucks. 35 to the Cardinals, and then 42 to John. So he is giving up a lot of points, more than you would want to see for a top 3 team. But hey, at the end of the day, whoever has more points on the scoreboard wins, right? And that's what he's doing. So hard to argue against that, but it's almost one of those teams where in the playoffs when a little bit more pressure happens, starts, happening, and you're in these tight games against better users, once someone figures him out, can he overcome it? So I'm curious to see. So we'll see.
Yeah, and we can just skip number one. Everybody cool with that? We can just skip by number one. No big deal.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I will say,
number
though, that
one.
the one argument that Panthers does have to be number one over the to be named, Panthers did beat Jabbar. You can't overlook that. 44-18. He put a
Resoundingly,
quality
too.
win.
Big win.
Yeah,
That's
Forget
huge.
all the other wins.
You can't overlook
got
that.
Jabbar under his belt. So
I don't
Yeah,
see the
notch
other
on the
person,
belt.
the number one ranked team, playing and beating Jabbar. So not everybody in the top 10 can do that. So
Clearly, not everybody can.
clearly not.
Whatever. No comment. No comment. Number one.
Who's the number one?
We got the Bills. That's Manny. Now, guys, I broke this down because, he's got the fifth best offense in the game, but he's coming in with the second best defense. Okay? He's got Niles was coming in hot. Okay? I'm gonna pull up Niles' schedule. He was doing very well. He whooped on the Broncos. He lost to Penn. He beat Vikings, who I lost to. He beat Jace. I'll stop it at there. But then he plays. So technically, he's 3-1 with his only loss to Penn, and it was a game-winning field goal. Okay, so Niles is coming in hot against his game against Manny, and I'm like, is Niles for real? Is this Niles user legit? Like, is this guy someone I'm going to have to worry about in this division? Guys, he got absolutely destroyed by Manny. Manny had 8 interceptions. 8 interceptions against Niles. So he's got the fifth best offense, but the second best defense. So he's got that defense. If you're putting up Manny right now, the Bills against the Panthers, where are you putting your money on? And the way Manny is playing defense this year, I think he wins. You know what I mean? So that's why, for me, I can't argue against Manny being number one. Fifth best offense, second best defense, doing his thing. Manny at 8-0, and we'll see what happens.
It's hard to argue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, those of us from HK know that Manny can play. So this is kind of I would say, a shot across the bow to everybody else that's new here. Like, that's the guy that you want to beat. Circle him on your schedule because it's going to be a tough game. So, and real quick, I mean, of those guys in the top 5, how many of them moved? Like, what was some of the movement that they had?
Biggest dropper by far would be Gregory.
That's tough.
Greg was at number 4, and he fell out of the top 10. John was at number 2. Now he's at number 4. Giants was at 5. He jumped up to 3. Browns was 6, but now he's also dropped out of the top 10, but not as bad as Greg. Chiefs also dropped out of the top 10. So it's, Niles was up there at 9. Vikings was up there at 10. So it's I say the top 15 has remained about the same.
I mean, I would definitely say I think your way too early top 10 wasn't that far off. So, I mean, that's kind of a exciting thing.
Guys, I like to, my top 10 are about as real as you're going to get. Okay? I'm not going to skip Bayless it. If I put a team at number 6 for a certain reason, they belong there. Okay? So, I do
And he
things.
comes prepared with ammunition to defend number 6, clearly.
Well, he knew he would get flack for it. So.
Oh, of course.
That's
I think
okay.
It's a good top 10. It's legit. It's
Yeah,
fair.
I'd say
Like,
so.
You didn't put yourself
I mean,
too high.
I am
You did
excited
very
to be
well
ranked in the
this
top 10
Madden.
for once. That's nice. After
Now, here's the
missing
deal. If
last
you
time.
think, if you guys ask me, like I said, I'm always honest. Do I think I'm the sixth best user in the league?
No one thinks that.
I would probably say no. But guys, it's a new game with broken defense, so I totally understand me being number 1 on defense points against. But you never know. You never know how the season can play out.
Yeah,
That's the top 10, fellas.
I would say nice work. I mean, that's got to be a tough top 10 to come up with. I mean, looking at a lot of these records, I mean, there's a lot that are very similar. So I definitely give you props for putting it together. So I would say let's roll into the next segment, the contender or pretender segment. And clearly, I have some viewpoints not shared with everybody. So I think out the gate, um, gosh, where do I want to start? Um, oh, well, no, I'm gonna have to save that one. So I guess let's go to the Eagles. I want to go ahead and go and call them out as being a pretender. And I realize this is Buns,
Whew.
who is a solid user from HK PS4. But the reason that I have him here is if you look at his schedule, he does play the Redskin or well the Washington football team, and they have a good record. But then he played the Rams, who have had multiple owners, and it won that game 27-10. He did play and lose to I'm Geeked of the Bengals, who, I mean, clearly they're in the mix amongst themselves, but I kind of feel like that's a game that Bun should be winning. And then he beats the Niners, who he's supposed to beat, but I mean, that's not really a quality win in anybody's book. He beats Jay Stopper, which stop the presses. It's not a huge win. He loses to the Ravens, so he loses to both the Bengals and the Ravens from the AFC. He does beat the Giants, but as I've stated previously, I think that's sus, and then beats the Cowboys. So, I mean, I wouldn't really consider much of anything on that schedule being very quality outside of, maybe Quiet Storm. And I think there's a lot of games left to be played to tell us whether or not he is who he says he is. So I'm saying that Buns right now is a pretender, and like John alluded to, having to trade away all that talent, like now that he realizes he's got a cap that he's got to play within, he's got some real problems heading down the stretch. I did not look at his remaining schedule, so that could definitely bite me in the butt. But looking at who he's played in front of him, I think Buns is a pretender here. So I will flip that over to the contender side of things now. And I'm going to say that I think the Bengals is a contender. So granted, that weakens a little bit of my argument there because he took that loss to them. But I do think the Bengals are a contender.
Who did the Bengals lose to?
Well, we will see. So obviously he beat the Chargers, but we don't know who that is anymore. They lost to the Browns, beats Buns, and then he beats Penn, and I think that is a big win. Now, granted, Penn's having a down season so far, so whether it's as big as I want to believe it to be, we'll see. But I think it's a solid win. He lost to the Ravens, and then let me check my notes. Yeah, we don't need to talk about that loss. Beats the Browns and then beats Niles. Now, I guess, looking at it, he's beating people in his own division. He's beating Niles, who's had a pretty good season so far. And like I said, beat Penn. So I think those wins give him that ability to kind of flex and say, I am definitely for real. So I think he's a contender. So out of those two, I'll throw it back to you guys. How wrong am I?
I would like to say I know more about Bengals, but I can't say that I've watched a single stream of his, so I can't speak to that.
He does stream
Um,
that. He puts them in the chat. I haven't watched them either, to be
Well, I'm a
honest.
busy man. Running a network by myself is hard to do, so.
Well, I thought you paid a really high profile contributor. I thought you'd be.
Well, we
doing
had him
okay.
on for one episode, but I'm not sure if that's a relationship that's going to continue in the future, so
I see. Okay.
we'll see.
I mean, I don't have any arguments for Bengals being a contender, clearly. But I think having the Eagles as a pretender, I'm not sure I can, because here's the deal. He lost to the Ravens, who is a division leader right now, and his other loss is your contender, right? It's to the Bengals.
Right.
But he's got a pretty impressive win against the Giants. So he beat the Giants, and he beat he loss to your contender. So I'm not sure I'm ready to say Buns is a pretender just yet.
Okay. Well,
Plus, I will say, KK,
Mhm.
you haven't been around as much in the PS4 league the last couple seasons, but I don't know if you know this, but Buns of New is not the same Buns as you're used to in years past. He has learned to play offense very well,
I
and I
will
think
sit
that
here and
translates to.
testify to that. That is big
I
facts
think
right
that
there.
translates to this game version on the PS5 a little bit better because he is getting pretty good at passing the ball. So I'll just
Yeah.
say that I don't think I'd be comfortable putting him as a contender based
Well,
on his
that's
resume
what
and his
we do
ability to
here
pass.
at the Ocho is we deliver hot takes. We don't play the safe side of the fence. We try to come out and give you honest opinion and just let the chips fall where they may. So, thanks for disagreeing, but I don't need to listen to you guys anymore. That was like 30 seconds of wrong right there. So,
Oh, you talked longer than 30 seconds.
well done. And then, well, I got to get somebody back on my side here. So, as a contender, I will put the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jern, I do believe you are a contender.
Oh,
Oh, so suddenly you're nicer to me. I see.
I didn't. I wasn't nice at all. I just said, oh.
Oh yeah, sure, whatever. You lost a game by 1 point to the Panthers. That's a tough one. Obviously shut out the Broncos. We still don't know who that Chargers owner was at the time, but that was a clear victory. You made him quit. And then your only loss there to the Bears was a force, so that doesn't really count. Beat down the Packers, and then of course you beat the Raiders, and we all know the Raiders are contenders, right?
Of course, yeah. The Raiders are a very good team.
Yeah, I see. I thought so. See, this is why I
Yeah,
put you.
very
I
good
had to
team.
get you on my team, on my side.
That's
Um,
right.
But then you went ahead and lost to the Giants, which I wasn't prepared for. So that's a tough one. But I do think that game against the Panthers is big, and you're winning every game you're supposed to win. So, and I had played you, so I know that you can play. So I think you're a contender.
Thanks,
Then we
man.
can.
Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
you know what? I knew you were
It's
going to
nice
be
to
on the
get some
pod.
respect around you.
I knew you were going to be on the podcast, so I had to add you. And then we might as well get this one out of the way. The Pretender. I think the Giants are pretenders because if you look at their schedule,
Oh no.
This is hot take. I'm
I
getting up out of my chair for
I
this one.
told
Hold
you
on.
you might need to grab a bourbon because I think this is a hot take. Is they played Jay Stopper's Steelers, they played Mookie's Bears, and we all know that Mookie's Bears are nothing to worry about, which technically was a force. So that's not that big of a deal. But then they played the Niners, and they played the Rams, who we don't even know who the Rams was in Week 4. And then let's see, they did beat the Buccaneers, which was a surprise. So that was, that's kind of the one that's
But
the one feather in their
if
cap.
you look at that schedule and you're following your logic, I understand where you're going. The Buccaneers is really the only quality win
This is
now.
this is
If
what I'm
you're, I
saying.
understand where you're going with this.
Right. They,
But
they.
I'm gonna also be the person who, and this is probably because I stream, but dude streams, so I'm always gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. Like anybody who is more than willing to put their game plan out there, come and watch me. I don't care. You can do your scouting report and do anything X's and O's that you want, and you still gotta beat me. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. So I'm not listing him as a pretender.
Oh, I am listing him as a pretender because that schedule is soft as fuck. That's all I know. Outside of a couple teams, it's soft. So, and
Wow.
he's
Wow.
given up a lot of points. I mean, he played the Cowboys and won 38-31. I mean, that's not a really dominant win. He did beat Quiet Storm at I would say a pretty solid point margin, but I just think he doesn't have the wins to back it up. So I think the Giants is a pretender, which kind of loops back to the previous segment, which was I don't think he's top 3. His record says he's top 3, but I don't think he's top 3.
Well,
Quote
power
me.
rankings. They change every week, right? I
They
mean,
do,
they're not
absolutely. And you only play who's
these
in
are
front of you,
power
right?
rankings.
You only can play who's in
Absolutely,
front
and
of you.
The only thing I have to say about these 4 pretenders so far, both pretenders beat your contender. So the
Yeah,
Giants is your pretender, beat Jern, who's your contender. Or did I? Yeah, Giants pretender,
yes.
beat Jern contender. So, and then
Hmm.
also the previous 2, vice versa also. So that's the only thing. If Jern is a contender,
Right.
that is a very impressive win.
Yeah, you can have
Yeah,
one
I don't.
impressive win, that's good. But if most of your other wins aren't that impressive, does it really make a difference? I don't know.
I mean, just because you say it's not impressive, I mean, he's still, I mean, he put the beat down on the Steelers user, whoever that is,
Really?
49 to 28.
You're gonna go to the Steelers
Yeah, and
user.
then
Well, has he played Jabbar?
Uh, he has played Jabbar actually.
he beat, no, he
It was a
didn't.
Oh,
force.
That was a
It was a force
force,
win.
it was a
actually.
force. Yeah, you're
Okay.
right.
Well,
It was.
that's the litmus test that we're
It,
using. So
he hands out 4. We need like a meme of the
But
delivery
it's
boy
funny.
on the bicycle delivering paper. Instead, it's delivering wins, and it's
force
Jabbar on the
wins.
bicycle doing that to everyone except for me.
But
So, anyways,
also, your argument, KK, is that his one loss though that he does have
Hmm.
is to your other pretender.
Yeah. So he lost to a pretender. Like, come on. He doesn't even
no, I give
deserve the
that.
A lot
Really
of
recognition.
not good then, huh?
a
Yeah.
lot
No,
of
no, no.
inconsistency
This
going
dude's
on
just
here.
been stumbling into wins.
He's been stumbling. Hey, we can
Stumbling
all
and
hand
and
bubbling
bumbling.
and
yeah,
fumbling.
we can just hand the ball off to Saquon, just like John knows. If we hand the ball off to McCaffrey, you win games, right?
Jesus.
Okay,
Well, you have to factor that in.
And
that's
some of
right.
these running backs are impressive.
So, and then let's see. I mean, I listed out a bunch. I will say that I think the Panthers obviously is a contender. I mean, they played the Falcons twice. At the time that I checked this out, I didn't realize that one of them was a force. So that does kind of factor into it. Um, they did only beat the Cards by 6, so that's kind of sus. And then they beat the Bucks by 1. But like, what it comes down to it, I mean, they played and won those games, and you have to give them credit for doing so. 8-0's not anything to really sniff at. Once again, we don't know who the Chargers owner is, but I will say he did beat the Bears, and he did it resoundingly, and we all know that means something.
It means a lot.
It
That's
does.
big if true. Big if true.
Big if true. And he did beat the Raiders. And I mean, we all know the Raiders is a good team. So he beat them
Sure.
by 1 possession. I mean, you got to be good if you're beating the Raiders.
I'll say I just lost the game to him. He is good. He's got a good scheme. He's got some playmakers where he needs to have them. He just needs to make sure he doesn't have cornerbacks lined up at safety.
He is very good at getting the 49ers to trade him all of their good players.
Right. And I'm going to go out of sequence here and list one more contender. And as much as it pains me to say it, I do believe the Colts are contenders in PS5. Because you cannot diminish the win over Penn. You cannot
I,
take. I mean,
can
and
you
he
not?
did. I don't think you can.
Why not?
And, because
I watched the
Penn.
game that Penn played against. I know you see it just last night. Penn knows what he's doing, man. It's still Penn. It's just Penn's still getting used to some of the angles and stuff like that.
And I feel
So
like that 86 throw power on Gardner Minshew is really
yeah, it is
coming back to
that is
haunt him at
definitely biting
times.
him in the ass as
Like
well as James Robinson. He had at first. I will argue he's been significantly better since he got on Johnson.
Interesting.
The Colts beat the Browns, they beat the Bengals, and he did beat the Lions. Like, say what you want to say, he's playing who's in front of him. His only losses to, the Bears, and we know that's important. And then Key Slimy he lost to as well. So, and it was a close game. It was a 3-point game. So, as much as it pains me, Mikey, I think you're for real. Um, let's
Why does that
let's
pain you?
it just pains me. I don't want to inflate his head too much.
You a big
Like,
hater? Is that what you're saying?
No, not at all.
Haters on the
I
podcast?
understand Mikey's like emotional makeup, and if I give him anything, he's just gonna he's gonna start thinking so much of himself. Suddenly, his top 10, he's top 5 all the time, regardless of the record. Doesn't matter. And I mean, come on, Jern, you know how much you had to pay him to get him on your network. Like, you imagine trying to pay him now?
It's true. Yeah, you're inflating his ego if you keep him in the contender list.
It's true.
Starting to throw caution to the wind. We don't even know this guy anymore. What has he
Yeah,
turned into? He's a
he's going to
monster.
start his own podcast without us.
Oh, whoa, that'll be the day.
And then to round
I think he's
out,
good. He's been confident ever since we got onto the PS5 Madden. He came out since day one. Even a lot of people were against it. He's like, I love it. I'm all about it. I'm running this table. Yada yada yada. He's been confident since day one, and I mean, he's winning games. So
yeah,
He is
and I'm pretty
winning
sure
Mikey's for real.
he's the only one amongst us on this podcast that is abandoning the PS4 league.
Oh
That's
boy,
true.
here it comes.
I love Joey too much.
Oh,
Right?
I could
man.
never leave Joey Burrow.
Like, the dude has Lamar Jackson, and he's like, no, guys, I'm going to just do the PS5 league because I'm successful.
Very true. Very strange.
Listen, it's not even because I'm 5-2 with Uncle Phil, 85 throwing power, number 1 points against defense. That's not why, guys. I promise.
No, clearly. Sure it's not.
I have literally, I know you guys on PS4 don't have Lamar, Hollywood Brown 99 speed, Waddle 97 speed, 99 excel.
Sounds
Nick
terrible.
Chubb at running back. It's very terrible when you're coming from this game and turning on the Ravens in that game. That game feels like I'm playing Supersonic Hedgehog. Like it does. It's crazy now. So
it does. It
with
does.
them, it's too much for me. And
Well, not
You know.
everyone that plays Madden and everyone in this chat can be good in 2 different games. So I understand.
That's
some people
true.
Can. Some people
Exactly.
can.
That's
He's
true.
putting his eggs
Right,
in
John
one
John?
basket. He's got to
But
focus his
that's
efforts.
Not
true.
everyone
Like,
can. Well, and
It is
some people
just-
on the podcast can't even be good at one of them.
It's true.
So
I know.
But
you
hey,
know what? I'm
hey,
just
I
here
will
for the
say this.
commentary.
I will say this. I'm curious to when it is that I play the Buccaneers in the PS5 league so that I can beat Jern in both consoles, in both versions.
I'll see you in the playoffs, big boy. Super Bowl.
PS4, that's checked off the list. Let's just see, PS5.
Yeah, you got that 1 win out of like 10 games. Congrats, man.
Hey,
I'm big proud of you.
all it takes is 1 win, buddy. You can win as many. It doesn't
Okay.
matter. I can
All
say
right.
I beat Jern.
Congrats, man.
Thanks, man.
So can a lot of
Appreciate it.
people.
Cheers.
And then to round out the contender pretender segment, Buck, everybody needs to sit down. Actually, first stand up, and then sit down.
Okay.
Because
Oh my God.
this pretender.
Is this a contender or a
No,
pretender?
this
Okay.
is a pretender, and there's no way I'm living it down. So here we go. I have Manny as the pretender.
Oh my
Somebody
goodness.
tag that man right now.
I'm going to it. Holy smokes.
This man played the Jets, who aren't even in the league anymore, 48-34. And then plays the Dolphins, who was MIA basically since he joined, and beat that guy. And then played the Rams, who's not in the league anymore and is now slick, and beat that guy. And then he barely beats the Raiders 35-31. And then proceeds to actually throw down an ass whooping, and that was on Niles, 38-3. So I'll give him props for that. And then only beats the Chiefs by like 12 points. I mean, I think the Raiders beat
Only 12.
only
He
12.
said
Like,
only 12.
Only 12. Like, I mean, the Raiders, like the Chiefs packed it up and walked off the field at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Like, they didn't even finish the game. It was the weirdest
It was
thing.
the second quarter. It was the second quarter.
It basically was the second quarter. You're right, Jern. And like the Monday night film crew didn't even know what to do, or the Thursday night film crew didn't know what to do. Like they were just like, what do we do now? We got to just like put on infomercials now. So they barely beat the Chiefs, and then they beat the Jets, who is the new owner, and then plays Voodoo Dog. Like the man hasn't played anybody. Yeah, he's 8-0, but like he's supposed to be the best guy in the league, and he ain't played nobody. Like, come on, biggest pretender in the league.
No
Wow.
SEC schedule, bro. He ain't played no
Wow.
SEC schedule.
That's right. Dude's whole schedule
This
is cupcakes, except for the Raiders.
That's right. Raiders are a
that.
solid team.
That's right.
Whew. I don't know what
You.
to say right now.
That's right.
I
I
And
don't.
prepped.
I don't know.
I prepped my top 10. All right, got Bills at 1. I did it backwards this time, right? I was like, let me go from 1 down to 10, see if my life will be easier. And I go, okay, number 1 Bills, not even close. You know, fifth best offense, second best defense, and to hear this, wow.
I don't
Right?
know if you could rank him as a pretender. You can say he's not the number 1 team, but what do you
That's
mean pretender?
yeah, that's
that
my
is
question. It's like
that is a serious accusation to send against somebody, is to call them a pretender.
Hey, you know what? He's got to
that
show
is
me
saying
something.
That is
that
saying
is
he's not
saying
good.
that's saying he is not going to be the runaway clear AFC. No, let me ask you this, KK. Who's representing the AFC from what you've seen out of this season right now?
Oof. I mean, I would definitely have to go back and look at the standings. Who do I think is going to walk away with it? I was not prepared. I did not know there was going to be a test.
I will do this. I will do this. No, because I'm trying to feel out. Okay, so you have in the AFC
Whew, that's tough.
right now
Okay, hold on.
Bills.
I just looked. I can see it. Who is going to represent the AFC? That's a toughie. Oh man, because it's not the Colts, because they lost to the Bears. Or, yeah, to the
Whoa,
Bears. It's
whoa.
not the Colts.
That's true.
Gosh, it's clearly
You
not going to
taking
be the
Manny? Or,
Chiefs.
let me make it easier. Let me make it easier for you. You taking Bills or you taking the field?
Whew.
Field.
You know what? I don't want to incriminate myself here, so I'm just not going to answer the question.
Oh my gosh,
I'm just
Manny!
gonna
I
let
hope
it.
you're listening, buddy.
I'm just gonna let it hang out there. Manny's a pretender. He ain't played nobody, and you know what? Let's see how this season shakes out. You didn't come
Love it.
for accuracy. You just came for the wild, baseless opinions. Am I right?
That's right.
Hey,
That's
that's
all
what
anybody
gets the
ever listens to
views.
this network for anyway. So
This is clickbait.
Absolutely. We don't deal in facts. Come on.
that's right.
What I
No
will say is I think
mathematical
the top
formulas or.
teams, I think certain top teams and certain rankings should stream more often. That's
Oh,
You know,
I would agree with that
Ooh,
take.
I think you're
pew
right.
pew pew. Pew pew
Yeah,
pew
maybe one way to find yourself not on the pretender list is to just stream your games.
pew pew pew
Perhaps.
pew pew. Oh my gosh.
I mean, maybe that's why he's always at the top of the list. Like everybody else, like John says, he's like, I don't care. Like you can see what I do. Now come out and play me. And we got somebody over there who's just, doesn't want to stream. No big deal.
Who? Who is
literally in
that?
the bat cave over here,
Right.
mysterious.
Oh, he has
He came
arrived in
in.
chat, by the way.
Either
Yeah,
under the
Here he
all I
is.
do is
waterfall or
win.
under the bridge.
And hide your streams.
And hide your streams. All right, guys. I think that wraps this up. Thanks for joining us. And we hopefully will catch you next week.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, take it easy, guys.
See ya.
Thanks, everybody.
Fuck you, Mikey.